Hi, my name's Elizabeth Mudd. I'm 40 years old and I have celiac disease. It's actually an autoimmune disease. Basically, in the shortest terms possible, when we eat gluten from wheat, barley, or rye, which is a protein, your body reacts to it and your immune system reacts to it and thinks that it's an invader in your body and it needs to kill it, but it's not. It's not germs. It just basically starts killing you. It starts killing all of your cells, and it particularly does so in your intestines. The first signs and symptoms happened when I was really young, but I had no idea about any of it, and they weren't typical symptoms. But fast forward to several years later, after I had my children, and just a few years ago, I just knew something wasn't right. My tests all came back normal, but something wasn't right with me. I was freezing all the time. I just had upset stomachs and just very normal things. Most doctors were like, oh, that's just stress. It wasn't. And a few years later, then the real symptoms came on, and I went into kidney failure and liver failure, and they really took notice. And even then, it still took over 1.5 years to get diagnosed. Ultimately, just pursuing the doctors and switching doctors. If they didn't listen, then I was gone. Ultimately, how I got diagnosed is I ended up going to UK doctors, and because my kidneys were messed up, because my liver was messed up, I had to do biopsies on both. When I did the biopsies, I was lucky enough to have the person who read them, the lab person, the pathologist who read them, said, hey, this looks kind of funny. I think it's celiac disease. I'd already had several biopsies done on those organs and nobody saw anything. I just happened to get lucky because nobody really knows about this disease yet. They don't know enough about it. It was through a blood test and biopsy. The most common misconception is that it's an allergy, and it's not. And that you can eat a little bit of it, and you can't. You have to be incredibly careful. Even if a package says it's gluten-free, it doesn't mean that it's actually gluten-free. And even though you don't, like a peanut allergy, immediately have a reaction to where people can see it, you're dying slowly and horribly. It's not a lot different than living normally. I just have to read all of the ingredients on packages. I didn't eat processed foods in the first place a lot of times, but that's the most challenging. Not knowing and trying to get somebody to listen. My kidney biopsy. Yes, it's not the end of the world. It's just a different way of learning how to live, because we're brought up a certain way, living on gluten, living on wheat and all of that, and learning how to cook that way. So it's just a different way of learning how to live. That's it. And you'll be fine.